What's up? It's your girl, Catherine Yancey. Welcome to KDY Live. If you have not already subscribe. DISCO100 Radio. I have my guest in house with us today. What's up, Damaris?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
I do well. How do you do?
Doing excellent.
That's good. Thank you for joining us. First, I'd like to say, of course, I'm sorry that happened to you. That's the topic of this show. Of course, this is the platform where we're openly discussing abuse. So, obviously, you have some insight to abuse and you would like to share it. And let me just share with you that you're actually our first male to come onto the show.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
You are.
I didn't know
So
that.
thank you, because abuse happens to all people, not just men, not just women, not just girls, not just boys. It happens to anyone, any color, any race, any religion. So it is no respect of person. So we just dive right in here. So tell us the age that you can remember your first um exhibit of abuse.
The exhibit of abuse was during the time that my around about the time my mother and father was divorcing. My dad, you know, took me. You know, sometimes the parent, sometimes they want
Mm-hmm.
to take certain kids, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my dad had other kids at mother houses or grandmother houses, and he just took me just one day, just packed my stuff from school, and just next thing you know, I'm on the plane.
Really?
Yes,
Not
on
just
the plane.
taken around the corner in the city
Not
on
just
a
around
plane.
the plane.
And how old again?
I was about 6.5 years old, and then he dropped me off to a so-called, everybody know my dad was Rico Suave,
Okay.
and he dropped me off at a female friend house, and that's when abuse started.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you consider your dad taking you a form of the abuse as well, or the situations that happened after that point?
He said again.
I said, do you consider the fact that your dad took you as a form of abuse as
Yes,
well?
I figured as a form of abuse, it was a form of neglect. It was a form because when he dropped me off, he was never there. He just
Okay.
it made it somebody else's responsibility to take care of me instead of himself. He never really took care of me at all. So,
I understand. So
mhm.
why do you think he took you? And instead of any other children that he could have taken?
I think he probably took me, I guess, to groom me or probably get maybe make my mother mad or
Uh-huh.
sometimes people take the kid just to piss the other parent off.
Absolutely.
So
So
that's true story because when you see a guy sit here and snatch a kid, sometimes it'd be a vendetta just to
yeah.
piss the other mother off
Oh wow,
or
that's
flip around. So
pretty extreme. So you
mhm.
could have been the kid on the Amber Alert that we get these days.
Yeah, but they didn't
Wow.
take kids Amber Alert that serious back in the day,
Of course,
especially with black
the
kids
parents too.
and parents too. They said, "Oh, he's probably no." I was going for a while.
Oh
I was
wow.
gone for a long time, and a lot of people know that. Also, my father illegally flew
Mhm.
me out the country.
Mhm.
Illegally flew me out the country. I ended up in South America and Brazil. That's why
Mhm.
everybody's like, "How did you got
So at 6, that's where he ended up
Yes,
taking you
yes,
to Brazil.
yeah,
Okay. So you end up staying with a woman
yes.
who is a woman who's in relationship with him somehow.
Somehow, yes.
Okay. And what happens there?
That's when abuse started. I guess she figured he's not coming by. Then I think it was me and then one of my other cousins.
Mhm.
And next thing you know, she just started molesting us. And then next thing you know, it turned into rape eventually. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
How old is the lady at the time? Can
She
you
was about in her, let's see, probably late 20s to early 30s.
And when did you figure that something was wrong, starting with the molestation? Because a lot of times people disregard men or boys being abused.
Right,
And they say, it's a badge of courage.
right,
Oh, the woman has just brought you into manhood.
right.
So, how do you explain to people how that made you feel, or how that deterred your progress or as a person, or interfered with your childhood and innocence? Explain those factors for
Well,
those who think that it's not a big deal
it's a
because it's a
huge
boy.
deal. It's a huge deal because a lot of people pushed it away, like, "Oh my God, be a man." They looked at me like I was like my father. My father was more of a ladies' man. It's like, "Oh, you just like your father." No, that is inappropriate touching, inappropriate relationship, and inappropriate anything that's dealing with a boy or kid is still, rape and molestation. And I said that's wrong to do that because it takes away a person innocent. It took away my innocence, and it does something psychologically to a child. And if a child is exposed to sex to a young age, he loses not only his virtue, he loses himself, and that is exactly what happened.
Well, explain that in more depth. How do you lose yourself?
Well, when you go to people, they start ignoring you. Like, oh man, come on, man. You should be happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you said, it was a badge of
They
honor. No, I shouldn't
downplay
have.
it.
They downplay the contents of the seriousness of the behavior. And then I confronted the authorities. I confronted
Really?
the
At what
people.
age?
I was 7.5 years old. Yeah.
Really?
And she started the advancement. She started the sexual relationship with me and my cousin. And that's when the penetration started, all the other stuff. She started
Mm-hmm.
had her doing performing sexual acts, all that. And I
Mm-hmm.
still was we was at gunpoint. We're kids, we
Really?
were at gunpoint, we was being abused. And we were definitely we was at gunpoint. The violence was real. So we were scared for our lives.
So
So
keep going.
and I ended up, got tired of that, and I got so frustrated. I went and got help so many times. A lot of people, and they didn't take it serious until she sold me and my cousin to sex traffickers. We was children. She sold us to sex traffickers, and all this time I'm looking for my father. My father was never there. And my father was, a lot of people didn't know that my dad was in the drug game. So,
Mm-hmm.
and he was on drugs himself. So
Mm-hmm.
this lady sold us literally to sex traffickers, and then the sex trafficker, they didn't want to sex traffic boys because they think they're getting girls and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
But they end up saying, "What the hell I'm gonna do? What the heck I'm gonna do with a boy? So what the heck I'm gonna do with the boys or whatever."
Right.
So then the sex traffickers took us and sold us. They kidnapped us and sold us to the what else? Sex traffic. They can't sex traffic because they say, you know what? They look healthy. They look like they well fed and taken care of. I tell you what, let's sell them all. Let's sell their bodies. Let's sell their organs. They don't deserve to be here. So they sold us to the organ trafficker, and
What
that's
in
the
world?
transatlantic organ trafficker.
Mm-hmm.
And that was scary, because we was abused. I still have marks on my body right now. I got marks to this day on my body because of the abuse that I've taken as a child. Most people say, "Where do scars come from?" Sometimes you get a little embarrassed
Yeah.
to tell people that, "Hey, I was in sex slavery. I was in sex trafficking." It's embarrassing because when somebody rape a young man at a young age,
Uh-huh.
it takes away from his development.
Yeah.
Because a person does not supposed to be having sex at that age. So then when you get older, you become more hypersexual to understand because you don't have that off button. You haven't
Mm-hmm.
developed that off button. Then it's hard for you to engage into proper
Normal.
normal relationship
Mm-hmm.
because of it.
I guess the females have explained the same, that including myself, that you become more sexually active early and
Yes.
comfortable with it because it has become normalized in your
Become
life at
normal,
at a young age. So you said I don't even want to say a mouthful. Like you said so many things that covered so many areas of abuse. Let's go backwards. So first, you mentioned that the lady that your father had dropped you off with was issuing abuse that
Yes. Verbally, physically, mentally, all that.
down to gunpoint.
Down to gunpoint. Yeah.
How did it escalate into that? Did she groom you to get to that point where she's pulling the gun, or did she just automatically start out on 10?
She started off on 10, started off on 10 in abuse, and then she just started leveling up. Then after a while, we're like, okay, if we don't comply to this, we're gonna die.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So my cousin was a little older than me, and unfortunately, he lost his life on the when we was kidnapped. He lost his life. They killed him and took his organs. And I'm sitting here at the table, chained up. I still have chains on my body to this day. I was able to escape. I used the same blood that I had to get out the chains. They didn't tie me up, chain me up like they did him. That's why I have scars to this day, because I broke away from the chain. I have pieces of scars on my body right now because of it. Because sometimes ask me, sometimes when you intimate with somebody, where does scar come from? I'm like, you don't really want to tell nobody, but then you break it down to the right person. Like, no, I recover, and I'm blessed to be here today because I escaped not only sex slavery, sex trafficking, but also organ trafficking. And organ trafficking is real. You know,
absolutely. And we're talking about Atlanta too.
Atlanta, yes.
So go ahead and
sex trafficking, organ trafficking is real, and I witnessed it. Not only by others, for real. And sometimes I have a little unique, embedded number that somebody can call or whatever, so we can help rescue them from abuse situation. Sometimes the situation they get into, we can't always, help get them out like right away, but we can also, try to help them escape their partners. And yes,
Uh-huh.
we bring security. I have a security company that I created to protect the women from threats. If that guy's a threat, the police can't handle it, we will handle it.
So how do you we're gonna get to that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you evolve to a place where you use your pain and let it serve purpose?
Right.
But sex trafficking
Yes, it's real.
is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
Please explain to people how that works because and how the recruiting works as well, because there are a lot of parents who are oblivious to the harm, the path of harm that they allow their children to be in just because they give so much access to their children
Right.
these days through different means. So talk to the parents and the children who think it's cool. We have all this people we interacting with, and this person has that, and it looks all glorified over there.
Right.
And people want to look apart these days.
Right. Right.
So it's easy to get lured in.
Right.
So please explain to them how real it is and how the luring part works.
Well, the luring part works in where they have the glistering, the shiny, the oh my God, or the luxury of it, oh, you're nothing. Oh, we just modeling. This how they get your kids. They get your kids by the modeling agency, the modeling concepts. That's where they have your girls, your boys, and stuff like that. Oh, we're gonna set them up with the agency and all that. They have them doing sexual favors to move up in modeling ranks or anything like that if they want to get an ad campaign or something. But really, the set is to find the most purest and the most innocent of a human being or a person, male or female, and just decimate their character, just take their innocence away from them. The highest bid go to the person that has never been affected or never been violated. So they're always looking for
So
people.
you're saying a virgin?
A virgin, yes. They preferably want a virgin, and they want the virgin because they easily manipulate it. They turn them out, and they understand that some of their peers is already probably having sex. They don't realize the ones that already had sex is probably have been raped or molested at a young age, and don't know how to control their newfound sexual urges. Because when you have sexual urges at a young age, you can't explain to yourself like, hey, why am I always wanting sex? Even though you've been abused, you don't know why you want sex. It's
you don't put two and two together at a young age.
So with that immaturity and all that stuff, of course you're gonna go out there and be wild. And I was wild, and a couple people probably know me from school. Yes, I was a little wild. And when I was younger, I did a few modeling stuff. I ended up, now everybody know now, but as I got older, people know now. Like when I was younger, I got into the I try to take my pain and try to say, you know what, this is my pain. You know what, F it. I say F it. I can't help this urge, whatever. So I ended up doing porn. I did porn at a young age. I was a teen. I started doing porn. And also at a young age.
What does that do to a person? Being in that industry.
That industry.
You're numb at that point?
At that point, I became numb.
Do you think a lot of people who enter into the industry come from a situation of abuse and end up in the numb place?
Most of them do. And then if they don't get treated, they end up in the numb place. And they said, since, hey, when people want my body, they want it like that, I might as well get paid for it. I might as well get paid for it. I hate to say it, but I might as well get paid for it. It's like, I had these urges anyway. I might as well go to work and just get paid for it. So I ended up doing porn, made a lot of money in that. So I was one of the only kids walking around in the high school with Versace on, all types of stuff. I had over six figure in my accounts. I had over six figures. I was making over six figures a year in high school.
So let's go back to the organ trade.
Yes.
That's real here in Atlanta as well.
Yes.
Not too long ago, there were many cases of people reporting just being snatched. Gas station, pumping your gas, snatched. A lot of vans or little SUVs riding around. Somebody in the back, looking to grab you in, and somebody's out front talking to you, trying to distract you, so that person can get you in. Let's talk about the organ trade. And I'm sorry again for your cousin. Please explain what happened there as well.
Well, going my cousin, we're gonna go back to where it started at. I decided to fight, because you have that situation in your life where you it's either fight or flight.
Fight or flight.
So I'm one of those people. I decided to fight. So I'm like, if I'm gonna die or they're gonna try to kill me, or they're not taking nothing from me. So I decided.
And tell us your age again.
I was 8 years old when this happened. 8.5 years old when this happened. I said, you know what? I'm gonna die fighting. So I might as well die, giving my all or my last, or let me try to escape. I just started paying attention. So when they had us in these different areas, I started, paying attention to. They
And how
thought I was
long were
stupid.
you there? Because
I
this
was
a
there for about almost a year and a half, almost 2 years.
yeah,
So
because it's a relatively short time frame from 6.5
yeah,
to 8
right,
to end up going through sex trafficking
right,
and organ
right.
trafficking. Okay, so go ahead.
About 6.5 to about 8. Um, and I was able to escape and run away and just just disappear from it all. And I ran away, so I ran away to the community, and that's when I told the authorities I was covered in blood and stuff like that. And that's when we found the lady, and you know how most people do.
And this is Brazil still.
This is Brazil. This is in
Mm-hmm.
Brazil. This is in Brazil, or whatever I said. Brazil, Brazil. This is in
Mm-hmm.
Brazil, but the villages, the police officers. I mean, these got people in the hood. It's in the favelas in the
Yeah.
hood where they shoot the police officer.
Mm-hmm.
So when a child is hurt or harmed, what they
They
do,
don't
they
go in
normally
the
they
hood.
don't go in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go to the hood. So we know what they do. The villages, or what they call the favelas or the hood. Well, you guys call it
Yeah.
the hood or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to put the law in their own hand. I call it the law of the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
So they end up killing the lady. They cut her up,
Mm-hmm.
beat her up. Stabbed her, put brooms all
Oh
types of
wow.
stuff. They torture her. They
Mm-hmm.
found the other guy. They set them all on fire. And about time my daddy found out, he wanna act like he's Superman.
Yeah, I was
Then
gonna ask you,
he wanna act
where's
like
your
he
dad through all of this?
he was busy doing drugs and selling drugs.
Okay.
And trying to do stuff in hospitality at the time, because
Uh-huh.
his thing was I'm in hospitality.
He's trying to have a different image at this
To have a
point.
different image at this point.
Okay.
So he was upset. He's like, I didn't know this. I said, come on, man, you never there. And
Uh-huh. Did you feel that he knew or did not
I
know?
figured that he probably knew that person had a faulty past, because
Uh-huh.
I said, why would you send a child to a madam, first of all?
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
most people understand that. Most people understand they send a child to a somebody have a
Right. They grown
shaky
people in
background.
that
They grown
business.
people in that business. Why
Mhm.
would you send your own child to
Mhm.
somebody that prostitute other kids or women
Mhm.
and all that? I said, what the heck? I said, what the heck he was thinking? What the heck he was thinking?
Right. And
Yeah.
what does he say?
Oh man, I'm sorry. No, I was pissed. That right there. That's when I.
And
I
this
grew
is at
angry.
8?
This is at 8.5. That's
Oh,
when I
wow.
grew angry. I wanted to kill my father.
Mm-hmm.
Because that rage. Because after I escaped from those dangerous men and those dangerous women men and stuff like that, and those dangerous effed up doctors and stuff like that.
What's up with the doctors?
A lot of them went arrested because that was a
They
start.
were a part of
They were part of
the Oregon
yes,
ring.
the Oregon ring.
Mhm.
They have a trafficking ring. The
Mhm.
Oregon ring they had back in the day. They used to have it where they have the NGOs come in like, oh my God, we're taking care. We're Christians, or
Mhm.
we're taking care.
Well, explain what NGO is.
An NGO is like a nonprofit
Mhm.
group or organization.
Like we have the groups. I don't want to say any names,
we won't
but
say
we
the
have
name.
groups like that go and do mission work all the time in other countries.
Right.
And they go to the poorer parts of the countries. And so you're saying that these type of programs or organizations are the ones that are responsible.
They're the one
what you
responsible for what I witnessed and what I've been
as
through.
far as the organ trafficking and sex trafficking.
And sex trafficking, yes.
So they hide under the guise of coming to help, and really they're coming to take.
Right. And you see a lot of people going there all the time for mission. You might want to question why they're always over there. Because while they're over there to, sex traffic little girls or take advantage of minors or even boys and stuff like that. I'm glad a lot of this stuff is coming out because it's been going around for decades, for
absolutely.
a long time. And
more than decades.
More than
I'm
decades,
sure
centuries.
probably centuries. Yeah, well, I would say centuries.
Yeah, I would say centuries too, because then they've been getting away with it for so long, and then the money doesn't even go to the us or the kids or help feed the kids or provide resources. They're wild in their pockets in their penthouse hotel, and they're escaping the kids and chaining the kids up, going straight directly to their mission, so-called quote unquote mission facility.
So you're saying that some of the missions who go to like third world countries, and they supposed to set up orphanages to help the people in the community. Instead, well, they may set up the orphanage. However, it's not functioning in a capacity that people would approve of who are supporting it.
Right.
Okay, that's hard to fathom. I didn't imagine that before you said it.
Right.
But I can definitely see
they set
how
this up to prey on women and kids, and then they get the poorest of kids some of them even manipulate them to even, feed their egos, and at the same time one line their wallets in their pocket. How can you provide a services? Human trafficking and organ trafficking is real. They kidnap people every day. Even in Atlanta, Atlanta is one of the hugest. It's known globally as one of the top places, the top, top
for any kind of human trafficking.
Yeah, Atlanta is known for that. So, and when women are going to the gas station, be careful, because they have these chemicals and stuff like that. If you touch your door or touch certain things, or even stop trying to be nice to people if you're by yourself. No, you need to lock your door. Stop trying to be, I'm a Christian.
Even that.
I'm a Christian. Let me try to help get this person. No, that's when they setting you up. They'll go in your car and snatch you out of there.
Yeah. So even things as having the chemicals on business cards.
On business cards. Don't take from people.
Yeah, I've heard some crazy stories nowadays where just being cordial to a person has gotten people in trouble. You can't take business cards.
Right.
You don't know what they're laced with.
Right.
So
all it takes is just a matter of seconds for these chemicals to work. Next thing you know, you're going to be in a state of delirium, and then you're out. Because I say that because I've seen it happen to a lot of my female friends, and even we witnessed, some people even recently, last few weeks, this happening right
every
now.
Day it's happening. Every day.
Like even a couple weeks ago, when they have major events, especially major concerts and events like that, that's when the traffickers come out. The pool of traffickers and the perverts, all that stuff, they're coming out. They know some women gonna be drunk, wilding out, not paying attention. So let me go ahead and get this person now.
And let's talk about the people who want to be chosen by the haves, let's say. Those who have the flashy car, those who have the nice suit, those who look like money.
Right.
Those are the people who can afford to do these things.
Right.
People don't think about it in those terms. So when my daughter was growing up and she was starting to go to clubs and things of that nature, doing what young people do, doing what I did when I was young, I'm like, hey, don't get stuck by the flashy.
Right.
Don't get starstruck. Please don't do that. Because don't go to mansion parties.
Right. No.
Don't go to mansion parties. You'll be the party. You can be chained up in the basement. Those are who can afford to do these type things. So as early as what age did you witness being in the trafficking?
For girls, definitely, and definitely between the 10 and 13s and stuff like that, they snatch them up young. And the more woman or the more physically developed a girl starts, I say as early as when she get a period. As early as a girl get a period, that's when this trafficking start, because they figured that, hey, this girl is she look like a woman, she grown. Her body's developed like a woman, so she's a woman. So
yeah, so if we go back to the older days when we used to marry earlier, around that age, and it'd be an old man you marrying, it's kind of like the same thing.
It is.
Yeah, but we did it for survival purposes back then. But you didn't really have no choice. No 13-year-old know what to do with no 30, 40, 50-year-old.
No.
But it happened all the time. So we're just at a different phase in life itself where it has evolved, where people are saying, that's an issue.
Right.
That's an issue.
People are ordering those victims now. They're ordering those same people you see every day in your neighborhood, got the little model life and stuff. They're actually sneaking around, ordering certain particular individuals.
So, I know what you mean when you're saying ordering. Please explain what you
mean. What I mean by ordering, they are particularly looking to, capture or looking for a certain type of women. And ladies, trust me, you are being followed. Trust me. You're I don't care how old you are, whatever. Somebody's watching your daughter, somebody's watching your niece, somebody watching your wife, your girlfriend, whoever. They're looking for opportunity. They're looking for opportunity. And what the person do, they have this little database. Because they had this little database. I had somebody arrested when we beat them up and found out. They have a database where they cover certain people and their action, their habits, whatever. They're waiting for the opportunity moment to snatch you up. And then when that person's at the highest bid, it can be the person, the banker. It can be the,
I was going to get to
the
that.
banker, the dentist, the lawyer.
Who's putting in these orders?
The preacher, the preacher and the minister. Did you believe it or not?
I believe it.
It's some high-end preacher and minister having sexual relationship with boys and little girls.
Absolutely.
This stuff been generation, and some of them pose in the guise of power or leadership. on purpose so they can be looked at as a person of power and leadership, so they keep their reputation strong, so they can keep their lives long. They keep their reputation strong so they can keep their lives long.
Not lives, Lives, Lies.
Lies, yes, lives.
And that is so true. A lot of people will get the education. They will volunteer at people set themselves up to be in the position they want to be in, to have access to what they want to have access to, is what I'm saying. A lot of times you talked about the different titles people may have. It can easily be a teacher. How many times have we seen teachers getting arrested? The ones that get caught.
The ones that get caught.
The ones that get caught for inappropriate relationship with students.
Right.
But it can be that same teacher who is not doing it in the school who's putting in an order.
Exactly, because I had a teacher at my school. You know, I want to put business out like that. This was what made me like even when I went numb, you'd be surprised. I had teachers that found out what I did. They knew what I was doing, porn stuff. This person set up a party because I started doing porn. I stripped at the remember the old on Santa Springs, they're on Cabernet, and they had like the male and female on there. I was at the strip club, stripping, whatever. But somebody purposely, they knew I was young. I was underage. I had fake ID. I went down to down a little, not 5 Points, underground Atlanta, where they made the little fake ID, and then that's where I started, started working at whatever. So I did a lot of that growing up, and I went by different names and stuff like that.
So you said that you believed in God. How does that play a role in you getting through everything that's happened and where you are now?
Well, my belief in God will strengthen me, because even though I was out there mad at the world or somehow being, a menace to my own pain, because you can be a menace to your own pain. You think it's like, nobody care, why should I care?
I was at that place. It's a very dark place. It's a very dark place.
I didn't care anymore.
I was homicidal and suicidal at that point.
Exactly.
And suicidal first, and it switched to homicidal.
Right.
The thought process, I would take myself out first, and then after that, I thought about it a little bit. Well, I'll just take out everybody who's making me feel this way. Right. So, it's a very real thing. You could be very young in that dark place. So I say this all the time to let people know. Don't disregard your child just because they are young. Don't say they don't have any issues because they are young. Their issues are real to them and they are big to them. So whatever is an issue for them is valid for them.
Please listen to your kids and please pay attention to all the signs, Every sign, it's like you have to listen to your kids, and I stress this a lot. Anytime your kids say something, you better find out who, what, when, where, how, and why.
Yeah, we used to think that our parents, those who had active, involved parents, they're doing too much. They're doing too much. No, they were doing what they were supposed to be doing as parents, getting into business, knowing who is who. Nowadays, people let their children go over other people's houses. Without even knowing who's in the house. You have not met anyone in that house, and you're allowing your children to go into that home.
And that's when the rape and the molestation really starts.
And it doesn't have to be the adult doing it. It could be the child doing it.
Exactly.
Like, we have to really...
Sometimes it could be the child, the friend of the child. Like, it could be an older brother or whoever, or a sister.
Yeah, absolutely. When you say pay attention to the signs, what signs are you speaking of?
Like the closed out behavior. Your kid was very active and very attentive. They shut down. And I was one of those kids. I shut completely down. Everybody's like, why is he acting weird? I was the most nicest, the most fun child that ever be around. Even as an adult, I'm very kind and nice. Well, let me tell you like this here. When the child started acting out, I started acting out like I wasn't a bad child. I just started beating up bullies. So my thing was, I see a bad person, I kick their ace. Their A word. I kick their A word. So, and even in high school, they said, this dude always fighting. There was a reason why I was fighting, because I got tired of bad people taking advantage of innocent people. Anybody know me from high school, I beat up all the bullies. And I had got to a point where I realized I became the bully.
That's a good point. Yes. Because a lot of times when people endure abuse, it's easy for the abused to become the abuser.
I became the abuser, yeah.
So I always speak on that as well. It is important to
It's just lashing out.
To look beyond the surface of what somebody is displaying and figure out why. Why are they angry now? Why are they on drugs now? Why are they doing porn now?
Mhm.
Why are they promiscuous now? Why they have 4 babies and 3 baby daddies?
Mhm.
Why? You
And I
know,
was a
it's
teen father
usually.
too. I was a teen father too. I had my first kid at 14. Yeah.
Hmm. Um, how does your perspective change when you get into fatherhood?
As my perspective started to change, actually, when I was about, I had my kids first. Had before I was 18, I already had 3 kids. So I'm sitting here knowing like, oh my God, everybody say, wow, he's working hard. A lot of people did not know what I was working hard for and
Hmm.
providing for. Then I had one of the kids was sick, and then all that, so I had to provide Medicare for that,
Hmm.
and I couldn't afford certain things, so I couldn't get a job, you know.
Hmm.
So I had to do other things, you know, to take care of my household. And plus, the young lady I was with, she was also raped, and
Hmm.
she, you know, her family threw her out the house because she was a victim of her stepfather, and that's
Happens
it happened
all
also.
the
The mother
time.
chose
The
her,
man
the
over
man
the
over the
child. I hear
child.
that all the time.
Yes, and I was able to save her life by listening to her and seeing her signs. And I became emancipated. By the way, when I was younger, I was emancipated. I was always taking care of my own self and
Hmm.
my own business. But I saw her incident. I went over there and beat that guy up. As soon as the rape happened, I sent her to the hospital,
Yeah.
and that's when they verified the mom was looking crazy, and they arrested the guy
But the mother
immediately.
knew.
The mother knew the whole entire
Hmm.
time because I was there. She complained every time this guy been raping her for years, and nobody
Hmm.
did anything. She said, and the young lady that I ended up protecting, we end up you know, she's like what your mom just her mom just threw out the house because the guy's
Mm.
now in jail or prison. So I say, she said, where am I gonna go? I said, come over here and get something to eat. And that's when I've been protecting her for some years.
Hmm.
And of course we, you know,
Ended up in
we ended up in
relationship.
relationships and
Hmm.
stuff like that. We didn't know no better. We was kids.
Right.
We was kids at the time, and we ended up having kids and baby, and I had to take care of them. It was always my obligation to take care of her because I
Hmm.
was in love with her at the time,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm. Um, how did it damage her
Drugs,
to?
alcohol, um, and she didn't want to introduce me to porn. You know, I got in porn by accident
Hmm.
because it got to a point where she didn't want to be with a man anymore. She wanted to be with probably like a woman. She felt more close to a woman. So I messed around and did some crazy stuff.
Hmm.
This is how I got into porn. Everybody's, how you got into porn? Well,
Hmm.
she wanted to be with another woman and stuff
Hmm.
like that. And that tape went viral, and they sent it off to we're teenage. By the way, we're teenagers.
Hmm.
And that tape went viral. It was a threesome. It was an orgy, orgy
Hmm.
and threesome that went viral, and that's how we got into porn, and
Hmm.
everybody wanted to continue to see more of
Hmm.
that right there. That's how we started receiving our you know, compensation. Yeah.
And porn industry is a very big
It
industry.
was huge then, extremely
It's
huge. It's still huge now. Yeah, yeah.
exactly,
Especially
and
teen porn. So
that's what I was gonna get
mhm.
at. Tell the parents how easy it is for their children to get exposed to that lifestyle.
Just like this, just like that.
Because
A
a
matter
lot
of
of people are like, not my child,
no,
not my
thank God. Yeah,
child,
right.
not my child. I really want people to get out of the mindset of not me and mine.
It can be
That's
your
why we
child
have these
today. It
conversations.
can be your child. You'd be surprised. Your child can be on OnlyFans. They can be something everywhere.
Please explain
Um,
OnlyFans because people don't know what
oh,
OnlyFans
I'm
is,
sorry.
but that is the platform
Mm-hmm.
nowadays that is easily accessible.
Extremely accessible. All this stuff they have now. They have
Hmm.
internet. They have all these little dark websites. You have your kids, you know, showing up with unexpected money or gifts and stuff like
Hmm.
that. They're probably on those websites, and they're
Hmm.
probably out here doing, you know, on these website
Making
making
transactions.
transactions.
Yeah, it's very easy to get a subscription,
Right. Extremely
and
easy. Just like
right
that.
because they can use their Cash App
They
card
use their
now.
cash
They
app,
got Cash
chime,
App card,
they use
Chime.
chime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So to
Sugar baby, sugar daddy websites,
hmm
sugar baby, sugar daddy websites. They also use all types of stuff, instances now on the internet.
right,
That
sex is so glorified,
yes,
and the value of love is
it's done.
a
It's gone.
non-factor
Right.
in decision making
Mhm.
and what people are exposed to these days.
Right.
And we really have to take some time to instill in the principles and character that we need our children to have.
Right.
And they're watching you too.
They're watching all of you guys. So, and sometimes they're also watching if you're not looking,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're not looking
Paying
at your kid or
attention.
paying attention. That's when
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna try it out. And when they try it out, if you don't catch your child now, they're gonna be caught up in the system
Mm-hmm.
for the next in their minds and their system for the next decades.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, check their phones, go through their room,
Go
go
through
through
it.
their bags, talk to their friends, Like if you need to X out some friends, you're the parent.
Another one is Discord. That's another
Mm-hmm.
social. So you ever heard of Discord?
Mm-mm.
Another thing too. Also you
I
have
think I
another
have though,
group
but go ahead.
called Discord. There's
Mm-hmm.
where kids have these secret perverted. They be doing these chats.
Mm-hmm.
Also go into the chat room. Cause most people say, "Oh, I don't see
Yeah.
anything in here." They
Go
see the
in
chat.
the
Oh,
chats.
they're in the gaming stuff. They have these
Mm-hmm.
perverted gamers out there as well too
Exactly.
that prey on your kids. So you got to be careful on that too. So you think your kid out there playing around? Go check the Discord. They're playing games, but at the same time,
They're
they're
communicating
communicating through
in these
Discord,
chats.
and they're sending out videos,
Pictures of themselves.
all that stuff for a
Their
change. Yeah, the
locations.
location too. Oh
They're
my
telling
God.
people where they're going to school and all kind how they getting there. Like you need to really talk to your children. I had to talk to mine when she was younger. She, they take pride in doing stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna be here on Friday. Yo, you can't say that before you do it.
Right.
If you want to tell people what you're doing, tell them after.
Tell them after. Yeah, yeah, days or weeks after.
Yeah, don't tell them when you're doing so they can meet you there.
Right.
So we really need to have these conversations with our children. How hard is it to be normal in a relationship after experiencing abuse?
Oh my God. First thing I asked when I search I'm in a relationship, oh, you go to counseling, you must be crazy or something. No, I've been going to, it's shocking when I tell people, I said, I've been going to counseling since I was a little child. So since I was about 5.5, 6 years old, I'm around that age, around that child age. Really, it really started heavily when I was when I got back to America, and I was about 10 years old. So at by age 10 to all the way up until now, I've been going to counseling ever since. And people say, what you mean? No, I'm with my mental health. And I didn't really find myself. It worked. Sometimes it takes decades. It took me
to get to the core of the issue.
To the core of the issue. It took me till I was about 17 years of age, almost 18. I said, what the heck am I doing? To myself. I'm hurting myself. At that point, like I said earlier, you can become homicidal, suicidal, all these other different things. But at the same time, you have to realize, like, I have a life to live. They can't control my narrative. I'm in charge of myself.
Yeah, regardless of what has happened, it's up to you at this point to move forward into what you want to happen.
I had my breakdown, my losses. I thought everything was glamour and stuff like that. I try to hide between material possession at the time because I was making
a lot
of
of people do.
I hide between luxury and material possession at the time. I had a nice life and
to cover pain.
I did it for some years, but it started when I was 17. When I found myself, I grew myself, became a better person. Start to level myself, become a better person. And what I did to find myself, I was searching for who I am. I realized, like, wait a minute, why am I sitting here suffering like this? You know, I took a DNA test at a young age and I wanted to find out, are there any other, since my other immediate family's not here to help me, let me see if there are any other distant relatives or somebody else that I can find to help me. Because you talk to them, you talk to your relatives, they just laugh at you, think it's a joke. Oh man, I had one of my uncles, he was most of my uncles on my mom's side, they was womanizers. They thought it was cool to be a player or cool to have sex at a young age and all that stuff. They thinking of me as a cool girl. I'm sitting here suffering.
So when do you get reunited with your mom?
I was young, but I was mad at my mom because I was upset with my mom. I'm being honest with you guys. My mom, I hated my mom. You know, forgive me, my mom said this. I hated her for a while. And she know this.
Why?
Yeah, because she left me in the hands of my father. You know, my father wasn't nothing, and she tried to protect me. Then she tried to influence. Then when I got back in her life, this is how I left my mom as a teenager. I said, no, I don't need your help. I don't want nothing from you. I'll take care of myself. Bye. I'm out.
But your dad took you.
My dad took me, but I was still upset because I felt like they should have had something to come rescue me or get me out of this situation. I feel like my mom didn't do enough.
You said a lot. Yeah. Because I think that there are a lot of people who feel those emotions.
Yeah, you hate your parents. You start to hate even the innocent parents.
When you feel like they don't show up for you when they should show up.
Right.
In ways that they may not even know they needed to show up. Because I, for sure, had issues with my mother, and I felt like she missed the signs.
She missed the signs.
Doesn't care.
I felt she missed the signs, too.
She doesn't care. So I was very angry with her for a long time.
So you can relate to that. So.
Oh, absolutely, I can. I think a lot of people can. How we displace the anger just to get through the emotion. You know, so somebody is responsible. At that time, you don't know how to be responsible for yourself or your emotions. That is a maturing thing to actually get to the place where you take responsibility for yourself and your life and everything that's happening here on out.
Right.
Yeah, of course, it's not your fault. The things that other people do, it's beyond your control. But what is within your control is what
Right.
you can do.
Right.
And it's up to you to take a mental stance. And I think around the same age, around 16 or so, is where my mental change came.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely believe in God. And I had a
Me too.
suddenly experience where I woke up one morning and from this dark place, and it was just the sun shining bright that day. And I was a totally different person. I had done nothing to want to change, didn't even know I needed to change. But I had a moment of clarification where I could make a decision. Am I going to be positive or negative with this life?
Right.
And I chose positive.
Right.
And ever since then, I have been moving in that direction intentionally,
Right.
doing the work that it takes to evolve as a person, to have a stable, steady mental situation.
Right.
With your counseling process, walk people through how to get started. Because people are like, I don't want to be crazy. I don't want to be labeled.
You have to self accountability, inventory for your mental, because you cannot be out here with that type of pressure in your life. It's not healthy to have that type of pressure in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good for you or whoever you involve yourself with. It's not good for you to go to work like that, school like that, or even live like that. So you got to tell yourself, do I want a better life? Do I want to better myself? Number one, if you're going through sexual trauma, you need to see a psychiatrist automatically, a mental doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, also physical health. I started taking care of my physical health because I realized working out was therapy for me. I realized that as a teenager. I said, wow, this everybody's, you always working out? I said, yeah, I have to. It's a part of my physical health. Number three, find a good your spiritual self. Find your spiritual self. You got to find the person because you got to fight. You're fighting demons.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, when those people raped you, they molest you, they put their demons upon you.
I was going to go through that with you.
That past transgression is hard because now you're suffering. You're not only suffering for your own self, you're suffering for what they placed on you. That demonic force is now, they're part of you. You're now is captive. So you got to tell yourself, realize like we're human, we're energy, we're vessels, but something's out there is corrupting your physical and your spiritual
intentionally.
Path. Intentionally.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal. They don't want you to do better. Sometimes I hate to say this, bad stuff happen to good people.
That was a life lesson for me that changed the way I moved in life.
Yes.
Because I used to have the woe is me pity party.
Right.
And a boyfriend I was dating at the time, he just set me down. And this is during a time of depression. I had just had a failed business, didn't have any money, and I had a young child, and it was just a hard time. So I didn't know how to navigate through. I had never been through those waters before. Right. So I was just having a woe is me time. And he said, look, bad things happen to good people. Good things happen to bad people. Like sometimes you just don't get what you deserve.
Right.
And that's okay. Because in the good times, when you get more than what you deserve, then you good with that. So you're going to have to learn how to stay even keel.
Even keel all the way.
Through all of whatever you're going to get.
Stay great.
Yeah. So he was like, enough is enough. But and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. How many things have I received that I didn't deserve?
Right.
Many.
A lot.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a pivoting point in my life from going down the little spiral into darkness that I had been comfortable with because that's what I knew.
Right.
You know, so you live and you learn is a real thing. So hopefully y'all listening and learning. And if you're in those places where you need to evolve.
Also go to sex I can find you a sex therapy or a sex therapist as well, somebody who can help you with their hypersexuality. It was the hardest thing I ever did. My doctor told me and my emotional healer as well told me as well too, hey, you got to go abstinent. I was like, huh? What's your
I've done that several
oh my God, you had to cleanse yourself, you know. You had to cleanse yourself from the demonic forces. You cannot feed into it, so I had to cut all that off.
Starve the flesh.
I starved the flesh
so it can, you know,
I was able to control myself. Right. I was able to control myself because once you're young and you get, you know, something happens to you young, you don't have a off switch. So I was like, if I can control it, turned on. Like even every time it's turned on, it's like you can't help it. You have to just zone out.
Yeah. I had an addiction to masturbation when I was young. And any addiction is not a good addiction. Right. Like I don't care how fun it sounds. If you have no control over what you're doing, it's not fun.
No, it's not.
It's not fun.
the crash, especially when you crash. Like, oh God.
Yeah, I just remember when I was going through that period in time, just be like, I don't want to, but I did
Right, right,
because I had no control.
right.
So to be in any place with anything that you have no control over and it's controlling your body and your mind, it is an uncomfortable place. I don't care how people say you're having fun, you're
Mm-hmm.
doing the drugs, it's
Right.
fun. It's not fun when you have no control.
Especially when I'm a sex addict, and I had some
Mhm.
women say, "Oh, he's like I became a nympho." Then I went to
Mhm.
after I gave up the sex for a while.
Mhm.
I did it for 2.5 years. Woo, that's hard. You know,
Yeah.
so that was hard for me
Mhm.
at the time. I was in my prime. Everybody said, "Women, you want to have sex?" I was like, no, I used to run away. So I used to have my Bible and pray.
Yeah.
And a couple guys used to laugh at me. If you guys remember, I used to walk around that Bible. Everywhere I was at, I said, no, nobody else. Let me go into prayer.
Yeah,
I was
you have to
fighting that
starve
demon.
it.
I had to
Yeah.
starve it.
Yeah.
But I became a sex addict, extreme sex addict, and then I used to have women say, "Oh, I can be with a guy like you." I was like, "No, you understand? I can have sex like with you like at least 5-10 times a day."
Mhm.
And people understand. I was like, "What you mean?" Like, no,
Mhm.
I'm an
I think
addict.
that's how I felt when I
Yeah.
was having the masturbation
Yeah,
addiction.
you had
Like
to
it
go.
was all the time. It was so horrific. It was
Right, it was
horrific.
horrific. Yeah,
Yeah, and I know people's like, how can that be? It's
it is.
horrific.
It is.
Any
Right.
addiction is
Yes,
horrific. So that's why
I
I have the
understand.
most empathy for
Mhm.
anybody suffering from any addiction.
Yes, me too.
Like it's not a fun thing.
Right, and most people think they look at sex addicts or sexual addiction or anything like that. They look at it as like, oh, that's nothing. No, it's just like a drug addiction. You know,
Any addiction is
yeah,
no fun.
it's not fun at all. And
Mm-mm.
then it's something. And then you get to a point where you're embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
But then you still, have a conceptualized idea like I must still do this regardless anyway.
Mhm.
And then the discomfort and the embarrassment, discomfort is constant shame on yourself, and then it's like, oh my God, I'm doing this. After the urge leave, it's like, oh my God, look at me.
Yeah, I think a lot of the healing comes from being honest.
Yes, open and transparent.
Yep. So when you get to a place where you don't have to hide the secret
Right.
secret loses power over
it does.
you. So that's why I'm very adamant about just telling what the truth is.
Right.
Not in a harsh, like I'm gonna get you type of way. The truth is just the truth.
Right.
So once you lay it out there, get it off of you. I tell people when I told them some of my truth, I felt a weight actually be
Same
lifted
here.
off me, a physical weight. Like I didn't even know I was carrying, but I felt it removed when I had come to an understanding about something I had gone through. A revelation had come to me, and everything.
My revelation
was clear.
came as well too when I
Mhm.
started talking to you as well too.
Mhm.
We're good friends. When I started talking, you helped me. Like, can I be honest with you guys? Who wants to be a man that been a part of any type of rape or trauma like that? No one. So it's all about the ego. I had to let go of my ego and pride and just maybe one day I might help somebody else out or touch somebody else's life or help them come out of their situation. Because a lot of people know a lot of men are being molested or raped out there.
Oh yeah, grown men.
Grown men too. Yeah.
There was a house recently. I can't remember what state it was, but the man had run out of the house because he had been kidnapped, and it was a sex trafficking house, and it was 30 people in the house, and 29 of them were men.
Wow.
So it's not just a woman thing. Get that out of your head.
Get out of your head. That's the problem. I went to counseling and I had somebody. This would piss me off when I went to counseling. That would make me run away from one of my therapy or whatever. I had a bunch of women. I'm in the race. Said, "Why you doing here? What you doing here?" They looked at me like I was because I'm big and big.
Yeah.
You see somebody 6'4" or whatever,
Yeah.
6'4.5", whatever, strong and muscle, whatever. First thing they got in their mind, like, oh, he remind me of he look like he would rape somebody. No, I'm here as a victim.
Oh, really?
Yes,
so the judgment.
Women judge a man all the time. So women, stop doing that. Don't do that. Don't go ahead and use the only male in the room as a punching bag. Don't do us like that.
So you mean like when you were going through group therapy?
Yeah, they tore me in half. I'm like,
oh wow.
I'm here for the same reason you guys
you're
are here.
Yeah. So the judgment thing is real.
It's real. So
it's real. It comes from family.
Yes.
A lot of times too, like you said.
So it's not even always the big and bad guys. It's them little guys that you see every day. I'm telling you, ladies, the little man complexes. Then the man want to be taking the women.
Yeah. Absolutely. It doesn't have a look to it.
It doesn't have a look.
It doesn't have a look. It doesn't have an age. Right. It doesn't have a religion. It doesn't have a skin color.
Or size and
so please understand that anybody can be the victim in these situations. Anybody could be the perpetrator in these situations. Right. we really want to get in the place where we're talking about it so much and so much on a normal level that people are talking about it in real time when it's happening.
Right.
Um,
And helping somebody in real time. That's the thing. You hear and you take
right,
action.
because people are going to seek help from those who they feel are supposed to be a part of their support, and usually that's the immediate family.
Right.
And they're being rejected.
Right.
They're being blamed. They're being told it's not true. Right. The psychological damage that does to a person who's already a victim, it's hard to recover from that. So if you are not willing to help a person, don't say nothing crazy to them. Just send them where they can get some help.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people are going through some very detrimental situations mentally because of the people who they thought could help them bash them. We have to stop doing that.
We have to.
We have to stop blaming them, trying to protect people who don't deserve protecting.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was, it stood out to me rather that you immediately, when your situations were happening, tried to get something done about it.
Yes.
People wait years.
Yes.
And years.
Yes.
And years. The longer you wait, the more life gets sucked out of you.
A lot of it. And you don't want your life sucked out, people.
You don't. So talk to the person who has waited, though.
If you waited, it's not over. You know, it's not over for you. I encourage you to get some type of help. First, the help starts with yourself, because you got to build up that ability, that courage. You got to become more courageous in yourself. I know it's hard, but you got to have that hunger, desire that, hey, if I don't stop this now, whoever's out there being threatened is going to continue for ages. So you have to fight not only for yourself, you got to advocate for yourself to help others become better versions of themselves.
Yeah, you're not the only victim.
You're not the only one. And you're not the only one.
More than likely.
Right.
More than likely, people hone their craft.
They do.
You know, they get good at stuff. They practice.
They advance.
And they practice. They advance their methods till they learn how to fly under the radar. The only way they can get to that point is that you didn't say anything when it happened. That's the only way.
If you don't say nothing, you don't put them on blast. You got to, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, you have to put their behinds on blast. Yeah. And the more you put them on blast, the more that they're looked at.
And file charges.
Please file charges.
Yeah.
We have a problem. We've had an incident. Well,
go ahead.
We had an incident where, guys, the birthday bash was going on, and several ladies over the weekend that I had to pick up and grab out of the situation. They was raped, tortured, and more than likely, how many out of 5 ladies that I helped over that weekend that was in a situation like that. These are close people I know and friends.
This is real grown professionals.
These are grown professional scholars and women being taken advantage of. They're not. The raping. You got people out here poisoning women, kidnapping them. I mean, it's crazy. And I had to rescue. It's crazy. I mean, Kathy was right down the phone talking to the young lady. She's a professional, and then unfortunately, Kathy, she did not.
Go file a police report.
File a police report. Now that person going to be out there advancing and
they got away with it.
They got away with this. So we have to stop that.
Right.
Stop helping them advance. The more we file a police report, file a case, we can save somebody else.
Yeah, even if we don't have all of the information or all of the pieces, there may be that one bit of information that ties it to something else they've done, where all the pieces come together from everybody reporting, not just one person reporting. Right. And it makes a big difference in law enforcement's ability to fight the case or capture the culprit. Yes. A lot of times we don't want to have the attention on us. I get it. Right. I get it. I don't want to be interviewed by the police. I get it. I don't want to go for it. Yeah, I don't want to even. I don't even want to have this as part of my identity going forward. It didn't happen. Right. You can say it all you want to. It did happen, and it is changing you.
Don't have the Stockholm syndrome.
Explain it.
The Stockholm syndrome. Don't fall in love and feel sorry for your perpetrator. Because oh my God, what if he end up getting life, or what if somebody kill him in prison? Now you want to be, you want to feel shame according to this person, but they wasn't shame when they was hurting and harming you.
You better say it. I say that all the time. If you didn't worry about the truth you were creating, You have no need to worry now about the truth that I'm telling that you created.
Exactly.
You should have worried about the creation part.
Right.
You know, you had control over that.
Right.
What you don't have control over is what I'm about to do with this information,
Right.
which is tell it. And it takes a mental development to get to a place where you're like, whatever, I'm going to tell it.
Right. You got to.
You know, I understand those who may not be there yet.
It takes time. You got to build yourself up just like a muscle. When you work out, you got to constantly.
Great analogy.
It's like working out. You got to constantly build that mental courage and that muscle up. You have to do it one day. It's almost like a fire. You see a little fire burning, you can let it burn the whole village down or the world down. No, you're gonna put that fire out before it takes everybody out. Do you want it? Then you gotta ask yourself, am I that selfish? I hate to say it. I know I don't want to say
You're
this.
already the victim. It shouldn't be your responsibility to have to care about other people, but it is.
But it is your responsibility to stop that perpetrator. Because I did it with I didn't realize like one of my niece was you know, I have my niece. I have full custody of my niece right now.
Okay.
I helped save her. She was raped by her own father.
Happens all the time.
Dude, this dude. I mean, I knew this guy was weird when I first met him. The first time I met the guy, I ended up you know, it was a fight. We got into a tussle. I hung him on the staircase. He looked at one of my daughters. He looked at my daughter wrong. And the other way around, this dude looked perverted. And as a big guy, as a man, stand up. Guys, stand up for the women.
It's something in your spirit that can pick it out, especially if you've been through it. Yeah. If you've been through it, you know something ain't quite right. Right. So don't just turn a blind eye because you don't want to get involved.
Right.
Like nobody got involved with you, so I don't want to get involved with them.
Stand up for somebody. Stand up for whoever. I'm a stand-up guy. I've always been a stand-up guy. You know, ever since, you know, for many years, ever since I've been a victim, I said, no, I'm standing up for all the little people. So I ended up seeing him looking like a pervert, whatever, to the girls. This dude was a pervert. So I did what any other big guy did. I hung him across the darn staircase. That was at a party.
Not a big red.
I hung him up upside down and shook him. I was like, what the freak wrong with you looking at that girl like that? You know, trying to scare him off a little bit. I roughed him up a little bit. Yeah, we got in the fight.
And people notice that stuff and won't say anything and won't do anything. Instead, they like, this is my boyfriend. Yeah,
exactly.
You know, this is my boyfriend. What did you do? What did you wear? No, you knew he wasn't right in the beginning. Something in you showed you and told you.
The signs are there. The signs are there immediately.
Right, but we want to overlook things because some of us want love or companionship so badly that we're willing to accept it from anyone who will give it.
This dude was a habitual rapist. He was a serial rapist. Do you understand that? He changed his name, everything. I was looking for him because I was still trying to, you know, I'm trying to get his.
Did he ever?
He's arrested. He's in prison right now.
For those charges.
Let me tell you what happened. He changed his appearance. I haven't saw the guy in a long time. And then I told the mother, I said, when she told me, I said, where's my niece? I said, because she was on drugs and stuff like that. I said, where's my niece at? He said, I gave it to the father.
So,
I'm like, are you kidding
me?
So for a couple of years, I was looking for her. Nobody told me where she was at.
Oh, yeah.
And then the reason why, because he went and got plastic surgery. He even altered his fingerprint. He changed his name, everything. That's how I couldn't find him. That's crazy, right? But you got people out here who alter themselves. It happens all the time. So the police officer, she finally, thank you, niece. Love you, girl. I love her till every day. I empower her every single day. You stood up not only for yourself. You stood up. This little girl stood up for every.
How old was she?
She was 12 years old.
Wow.
She stood up for every woman that was afraid to talk. You know how hard it is to put your freaking own father in prison for the rest of his life. And then I found out the case. Wait a minute, that's not. I'm thinking it's a stepdaddy or something. I'm like, who this new guy? He looked I'm talking. He looked like almost like I had a new face. Everything. Wait a minute. Is that such? Forget. I'm putting him on blast. Is that Matthew? I'm put his ass on blast.
What I be saying. We got to say their names.
I said, Matthew. Oh, he changed his name. I said, no. Is that Matthew? I said, no. They said that. Wait a minute. He don't change his face, his complexion. They couldn't find him on any. They couldn't track him for any other thing. I said, no. He did some surgery, some major surgery. That is not the guy. I said, no, that's him. I said, I told the police officer, you sure? I had to tell the police officer about this guy, what all he did. He said, he don't did all this stuff. They had to go further and deeper when he made all the changes. And
they
found out he also had victims across the country and across the world.
Wow.
At these military bases. People don't talk about military rapes. He's been raping women for decades.
So he's ex-military.
He's ex-military.
Mhm.
They don't talk
Happens.
about this.
Yep.
He been raping women and children and girls for years. They also looking for him in the Middle East. He was in the Middle East raping the women over there too.
Yeah, some people are just sick
He's a serial sick rapist,
Some
and that
people are
monster
just
is
sick
he's off the street right now
because of the daughter.
because my niece now, my daughter now, I adopted her, and see that monster, that serial he could have escalated and start killing his victim.
Absolutely.
How you know he probably never killed his victim?
You don't know.
Matthew is off. That monster's off the street because that little girl decided to do something.
Yeah, when
Take
I
action.
started to
Sorry, my bad.
no, you're great. When I started to talk openly with the
Right.
group, I'm sorry that happened to you. So many people reached out to me,
Right.
and they had so many horrific stories. The stories still come, and I've heard several instances of the father abusing their own biological
Your own child. Crazy.
I know of situations personally where the father abused his own biological child. That's how I know. It can be anybody. Please stop acting like it's not.
Right.
You know it is. You know that your child is in harm's way. However, to save face, save the name, save your relationship, whatever you're trying to save your child, save yourself. I'm sorry that happened to you if nobody came to save you. It's very likely that that's the case. We learn to deal in life in ways that we've been taught. A lot of times in life, we've been taught to sweep stuff under the rug, keep it moving, keep it pushing, and we never revisit it. It's time to revisit.
Horrible things happen to when, like, going back to my mother. I built my relationship for my mother because I started advocating for rape victims. I did not know that my mom was also was raped by her own, by her own stuff too. That's what brought my mother, because I said, "Wow, it happened to you too." Like this, this stuff here. Sorry to happen to you. And I started realizing, like, Mom, what?
And it gives you an understanding of how their mindset may be.
My mom was mad. She said, just as you upset, but she said, "Son, I was trying to tell you for years. I'm upset that it even happened to you." Her innocent child, because you want to try to break that cycle as a victim. You want to try to break that cycle or that mold from what happened
and
to you.
Sometimes you don't know how.
You don't know how.
Because you haven't been taught to. You've been taught how to survive.
Right.
With the torment.
Yeah.
That's what is being passed down. Survival skills is. I said this maybe a week ago. Survival skills are passed down, but it's time for us to pass down healthy survival skills.
Right.
We got to change it.
And what to do in those cases, skills as well too. Don't let nobody go through that. It affects you. Even everybody said, "Can you ever get over it?" No, you can't, because you're always thinking about it's, because if it never happened to you, of course you can walk around nonchalant. When that stuff happened to you, you're thinking about everything. Like, oh my God. Since you have a child, like, what is my baby doing?
There are very few people who it hasn't happened to.
Right, that's very few. Yeah.
Very few. They would be the exception. Or not just haven't happened to, or don't know somebody it's happened to.
Right.
You are the exception. If you don't know anybody and it's never happened to you. And that's great.
It's trauma to the brain, trauma to the activities. Sometimes, could you imagine, I had one young lady, the guy never got caught, but one of the guys ended up working at her place of work. This guy raped her for years. He ended up working at her place of work.
Oh wow,
that's crazy. Could the guy you ran off in another state to, left it alone, showed up at her place of work, and guess what? He's already raped 3 women at that job.
If that's what they do, that's what they do. If you know the person is who they are, believe them. They are who they are. Don't try to cover it up for them. Don't try to make them better than what they are just because they're attached to you in some kind of way. They are who they are. We're getting ready to close out. Any last words that you like to share for, let's say, if you could talk to the people who actually did the abusing in your case, what would you say to them?
If you are the abuser, turn yourself in. The best thing you can do, turn yourself in, because eventually, karma is going to come upon you. You're not going to get away with it, because every abuser I ever saw did that, the karma came to them hard. So you might as well turn yourself in and get yourself some help. And then you need to go back and ask the victim to forgive them, because you're just, not only that, you're destroying generations. You're destroying yourself. You're destroying other people's salvation. You're destroying a lot. That moment of time or passion, I mean, take those chains off those people so they can live their lives. Sometimes if a person is afraid to even come to you, the least you can do is come to them and ask them for forgiveness. Change your life. Change your life immediately. Because if you don't do that, then then it's gonna happen to your family member. That karma gonna come to you. It's gonna happen to other people, and you never know. Sometimes most of the people that's doing that, they don't realize. Like, guess what? It's happened to. I saw also a couple of guys that was abusing. I said, man, I changed my life once. It happened to their daughters. Don't forget. Sometimes when you're doing all this abuse, don't forget it can happen to your daughters. And one of the daughters ended up getting killed and murdered.
Oh, wow.
And then they became a
it's an issue now.
It's an issue now because they fell in themselves and they went back to their victims and asked for forgiveness and stuff like that from the abuse. And a person also did time too. He turned himself in, for his own situation. He got out and started setting up, groups and stuff like that to, to help people from those particular situations. And most of them people like that, they come from bad places. Hurt people.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't just blame the person that created the situation. Sometimes that person probably also a victim themselves, and they don't know how to harness that negativity and turn into something that can help other people. And for the victims, stand up for yourself. Your voice will never get heard. Please be heard. Go to somebody. Go to an advocate group. Come to Kathy. She's incredible. She's an incredible individual. Come to somebody. Find you a system of protection that can talk to you. You got to talk it out. You got to walk in and talk it out. You got to produce some type of action to take you out of this scenario.
It's a journey to healing.
It's going to take
some time.
To
healing.
One step at a time. It takes one step at a time, though.
Thank you for your insight and sharing your story, Damaris. Can you please tell us how we can find you, and what you have going on?
Okay. My name is Damaris. You can find me at my Instagram at Barnett360. My Facebook is Damaris Escobar. Sometimes I use my dad's name, Escobar Barnett. You can find me. I work in insurance and investments and stuff like that. So if you need insurance investment too, so I help you with that. But I'm here to support you. Also, if you are afraid or need somebody to protect you in an abusive situation, I also have a My Hope to Heal Foundation that we come out and help you in situation like that of abuse. Yes, we will go ahead and help you out, help you get out of that situation. Help if you're afraid to go to court or find the person that's been involved in abuse. We will help find them for you. So you can go to My Hope to Heal Foundation as well too. You can track that out. You can look that up online as well too. We're here to help people. We're here to rescue. If your little girl is in prostitution or slavery, we'll come and get them. I don't care if they're in a different country. I don't care if they're in the United States. We will find them and help them get help. We like to help people because a lot of the guys are also trained military, special forces. A lot of them are retired. A lot of us are mercenary. And I became a lot of people know I became a mercenary because of this. I didn't realize this stuff was happening worldwide. So I started my nonprofit group and an orphanage to help people that have been in a situation like this. And we help them get out of that situation. Just like when we went to Africa, Boko Haram, he captured those girls. They sent out a bunch of mercenaries and stuff like that to come and help free those girls. So sometimes what the authorities can't do, the mercenaries can do.
Yeah, this is a worldwide issue.
It's a worldwide issue.
Thank you again for joining us, Damaris. You can find me, Catherine Yancey, Ms. MZ.KDY, on other social media. I'll be right here with KDY Live next week. See you next time on Disco 100 Radio. This is KDY Live.
Okay, guys.